Yeah, so Tupac reached out to me last night and he said, Ray Ray, you've been one of my biggest supporters over the years. I know you're not going to just sit here on YouTube and let them kick dirt on my name like that. As big as your mouth is, you ain't going to say nothing on my behalf. And I said, yeah, dear brother, I am. I am going to say something on your behalf. So I noticed that a lot of YouTubers and different people in the social media genre are picking this time to kind of continue to call Tupac a rapist and bring up the rape allegations in which he actually spent time in jail for and no one else did. So the first thing I'm going to do is just talk a little bit briefly about Miss Jackson who was raped. And I also want to say by no means am I trying to bash a rape victim or speak negative about Miss Jackson at all. I understand what it's like for someone to violate you. So I would never disrespect this woman. And I also want to say that, yes, she was raped. For all the people who said she wasn't raped, she was raped. She was tortured, raped, and I feel horrible about what happened to her. Okay? And this is not in disrespect to her. Or is it in disrespect to Tupac? These are his own words that I'm actually going to use. But I felt the need to do this because I get tired of people trying to kick dirt up on a guy's name who was so thorough, who was so spiritual in his music, who was a true artist and giving us so much of his talents for people to continuously throw dirt on his name and they don't even have like an inch of his talent. You'll never get to achieve as much as he did. And he was a baby when he passed away, mind you, people. He was a baby. And a lot of these people that are throwing dirt on his name, if even if they have surpassed him, you're not better than him. And for the people who continue to throw dirt on his name, you'll never get to where he was at 24. And that's why you really hate him, because you see something great that you could never be, because this man has been dead for like 25, 26 years now, and people cannot let him rest in peace. So many devils. All the man want to do at this point is rest in peace. He was looking for peace. Even if he felt it had to mean his death, he wanted peace because he was tired. So even in the Bible, you can find where you should let people rest. That's why we say rest in peace. And let me say that again before I start talking about him and bringing all of this stuff up, which we need to just let go at this point. But rest in peace to my dear brother Tupac. And I'm also I feel sorry for Miss Jackson, what happened to you. I really do. So what I'm going to do, I had this book for years, for when it came out. This is the book from the Vibe, right? Updated, I have the updated edition of the New York Times bestseller. Okay, and that's the Vibe. What was the name of the book? Because Pac's face is all over the book. He just put his face on it, and or whatever. But it's from the foreword by Quincy Jones. Okay, so Quincy Jones and a few others had some do. But let me just get into what I wanted to go over, because this is very important to understand what role Tupac actually played in Ayanna Jackson's rape. So we could just clarify this and let our brother rest in peace. Okay, so I'm going to do a little reading. Okay, so I'm gonna read the part where they're at nails, and Tupac himself is describing the incident. There's a little dark part in nails, and I see people over there making out already. So she starts pushing me this way. I know what time it is. We go over in the corner. She's touching me. I lift up my shirt while I'm dancing, showing off my tattoos and everything. She starts kissing my stomach, kissing my chest, licking me, and S. She's going down, and I'm like, oh. She pulled my D out. She started my D, on the dance floor. That ish turned me on. I was thinking like this is gonna be no, excuse me, I wasn't thinking like this is going to be a rape case. I'm thinking like this is going to be a good night. You know what I'm saying? Soon as she finished that, just enough to get me solid rock, we got off the dance floor. I told Nigel, I've got to get out of here. I'm about to take her to the hotel. I'll see you later. Nigel was like, no, no, no. I'm going to take you back. We drive to the hotel, go upstairs, have sex real quick. And as soon as that was it. I was tired. I was drunk. I knew I had to get up early in the morning. So I was like, what are you going to do? You can spend the night or you can leave. He says she left me her number and everything was cool. Now, from the interview with Vlad, Miss Jackson says that she stayed, obviously, and they gave her a wake-up call. So his version was she left the number. Miss Jackson's version is she spent the night and, they gave her a wake-up call so she could go to work the next day and everything. Okay? Also pointing out the fact that if she did spend the night, that was a gentleman-like mannerism to say, okay, well, I'll have the hotel, which is a courtesy they do for anybody who needs a wake-up call. But for him to do that, for her to say, okay, well, I'll make sure you get to work on time. Just, pointing to character, right? So, okay, they go to the hotel. That happens. Now, Miss Jackson says that they met several times after that. With Tupac, what I'm going to say here is different. He's not, what he's saying doesn't support what she's saying. But she's saying, if it's true, let me get my notes, because she said they had dinners, 2 or 3 dinners together, and in order for her to meet up with him for these dinners, he had to send cars to her. Okay, so after she would get off work or whatever, he would send cars, and they would enjoy dinners together, 2 or 3 dinners. And in her own words, she said they would have a good time. So she enjoyed Pac's company, and if it's true, he obviously enjoyed her company too. And he always made sure that she was cared for. She had cars sent back and forth to her. That's her story. Okay, now I'm going to read. This is the night that this stuff happened. That the rape happened, of Miss Jackson. We had to do a show. This is Pac. We had to do a show in New Jersey at Club 88. This dude said, I'll be there with a limo to pick you up at midnight. We went shopping. We got dressed up. We were all ready. Nigel was saying, why don't you give her a call, meaning Miss Jackson? So we were all sitting in the hotel, drinking and waiting for the show. Pac is waiting, to go do the show at Club 88. And Nigel was like, I called her. She called me, and she's on her way. But I wasn't thinking about her no second time. We were watching TV when the phone rings, and she's downstairs. Nigel gave Man, my manager, some money to pay for the cab. And I was like, let that be, pay for her own cab. She came upstairs, and he talks about how she looked. I'm not going to go through this. She came upstairs, and he talked about how she looked and everything, that she was dressed nice and whatever. So we're all sitting there talking, and she's making me uncomfortable. Because instead of sitting with Nigel and them, she's sitting on the arm of my chair. So this is Pac feeling like, okay, Nigel called you, obviously, and you over here. So this is Pac not knowing that Nigel has used his name to get her over there. So Miss Jackson is saying that, Tupac lured her there for that to happen, but I don't think that's what happened, because going by this, Nigel is saying out his mouth to Pac that, I called her. She called me, and she on the way now. So from this, it's not supporting the fact that Pac had invited her over. right? But she's there. Now, where were they at? Sitting, all right, sitting on the arm, sitting on Tupac, the arm of his chair. And Nigel and Trevor are looking at her like a chicken, like she's food. It's real uncomfortable. It doesn't say, oh yeah, it's a real uncomfortable situation. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take her to the room and get a massage. I'm thinking about being with her that night at Nell's, okay, because he was really turned on, and the night, you know what they did after that. So we get in the room. I'm lying on my stomach. She massages my back. I turn around. She starts massaging my front. Miss Jackson says this. Pac says this lasted for about half an hour. I think Miss Jackson says, it was a shorter time, but this is what Pac's saying. They've been in the room for like a half an hour. In between, we stop and kiss each other. I'm thinking she's about to give me another, downstairs. But before she could do that, some niggers came in, and I froze up more than she froze up. If she would have said anything, I would have said, hold on, let me finish. But I can't say nothing because she's not saying nothing. How do I look saying, hold on? This would be like I'm making her my girl. Now, understand in that statement that this guy is like 23, 24 years old. And in that mind, you still in that mindset of, oh, what they going to think if I say this and that. Okay? So let's just think about that. And also, how he talked about freezing up more than she did. Like, he felt like he was in more fear than what, he noticed on her. And here's what happened. So they came and they started touching her ass. They going, ooh, she's got a nice ass. Nigel isn't touching her, but I can hear his voice leading it. Like, put her panties down. Put her pantyhose down. I just got up and walked out the room. When he went, and then as he walked out the room, he's getting told, oh, the people that want to meet with you is in another suite. So he just went over there. He says he's going to sleep or whatever. And then what happens is like right here. Let me get to that. When I woke up, Nigel was standing over me going, pop, pop. And all the lights was on in both rooms. The whole mood had changed. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was drugged. I didn't know how much time had passed. So when I woke up, it was like, you're going to the police? To the police? You're going to the police? Nigel walks out the room, comes back with the girl. Her clothes are on. Ain't nothing tore. She's just upset, crying hysterically. This is Pac describing the scene after Miss Jackson is raped. Okay, I said she was just, dang it. She's crying hysterically. Upset, crying hysterically. Why you let them do this to me? She's not making sense. I came to see you. You let them do this to me? I'm like, I don't got time for this shit right here. You got to chill out with that shit. Stop yelling at me and looking at me all crazy. She said, this is not the last time you're going to hear from me. Slamming the door. And Nigel goes, don't worry about it. Pac, don't worry. I'll handle it. She's just tripping. I asked him what happened. And he was like, too many niggas, So after that, Pac gets arrested and whatnot, and things go on from there. But I'm going to put some audio, too, from Miss Jackson and from Pac himself. I'll find a way to squeeze Pac in there. But my whole point was Pac was not guilty of rape, and he paid for other people who raped her. Now, what Pac was guilty of, and so many other men have been in this situation, he placed himself around the wrong type of people. See, he thought he was a thug, but he was surrounded himself with people who were really, 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 really thugs. And because he didn't want any harm to come to himself, he walked out that room and let that girl be victimized in that room. And that's what, as it hurts me to even say that and to have to acknowledge that about somebody that I still have a great deal of respect for. But I feel like, let the truth be told. And when he apologized to her, to Miss Jackson, I know it wasn't enough. And I know she hates him. I know she probably hates him to this day because she looked up to him and liked him so much. And then she had experience, a sexual experience, or if it's the way she's telling it, she spent some time with him. And she felt like he should have done right by her and not have just left her like that. At the time, he was young. And at being 23, you don't know anything, and you're real stupid and you're real immature, and you are still worrying about, what people think about you, and you may be scared to stand up as a man, even though, legally you're a man. You may be scared in certain situations to stand up as a man. I'm not a man. I don't know what that will feel like. But that's what the brother is guilty of. He didn't rape anybody. He walked out and left Miss Jackson there. And that's what the brother was guilty of. And he spent too much time in jail without having other people spending time in jail for their part. The rape kit was something I was trying to dig around and look, but I'm like, I don't know how deep I want to get because it bothers me or whatever. It probably come through in my voice or whatever in a time like this. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant and his daughter, and all the people just passed away. So, talking about people and, tragedy is going on and stuff like that. But this was, it just bothered me. I felt like Pac came to me and was like, yo, like, I'm tired of them riding on my name like that for nothing. They doing it for nothing. And we have to have some kind of pushback, at least for the truth. At least tell the truth. Say what he did. He walked out the room and let them guys rape her. Don't say Tupac is a rapist because he didn't rape her. And if you really read through some of the cases, he was charged with sexual abuse and sodomy, not rape. So I'm like I said, I'm gonna put some audio on here. I think I said enough. I think I read enough or whatever because I like I said, I just get tired of it. It's obviously an attempt to destroy everybody who's great, in the black community. Like, it's this targeting of Malcolm X. It's the targeting of Martin Luther King. It's the targeting of, Tupac. Whether you felt like he was great or not, he had the ability to touch masses. Decades after him being deceased, he still has that power. And I understand the people are jealous of that because they can't amass it. They can't achieve that greatness. They can't touch people in the way that he does. People don't, look to them in the way that, people would look to Pac or Malcolm X or Martin Luther King. And I understand you're jealous. But understand that there are people out here who are going to push back and who are going to tell the truth. Faith Evans, she was another one in her memoir. I don't know whether that happened or not. I can't say, oh, Faith, you lying or whatever, but I can bring up circumstances surrounding that, saying to myself, if Diddy signed you and you're married to Biggie and Diddy and Suge are kind of like going at each other at the time, why would you even entertain doing a song with a West Coast artist from that label in the first place? You know what I'm saying? And like, why wasn't that reported? Like, you ended up in a party with him again. They have pictures of Faith Evans in the party with Pac. You had Ray J has come out before and already said that she was like sitting on his lap in the studio and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I don't know what this is and this attack on Pac, but I appreciated the man for what he gave. So being the fact that, I'm on YouTube, so I had something that I wanted to say about it. And I'm going to attach this audio. And, you want to drop a comment, let me know. You know? All right, guys, I'm Ray Ray. And I'm out. I'm not going to do the slogan.
When I left that morning, he called downstairs, the Meridian, to the clerk or whatever. He called downstairs, called me a car. He says, leave your number. So I left my number. I left, went home, went to work or whatever. And I called. Yes, I did. I called him. I did.
Okay. And were you leaving kind of sexy messages for him when you called?
No, I know. I called. I did call. No, I called once and I said, yeah, I had a great time. And that was it. Yeah.
Okay. So then after that night, how much time passes before you guys decide to meet up again?
Well, his road manager at the time, his name is Charles Fuller. He called me. He's like, "Oh, well, you want to come? Pop wants to see you. You want to come hang out?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I would go to the city. Charles Fuller would send a car to where I was living at the time, and I would leave work, get the car, go to the city, and just kind of hang out.
Okay, so you hung out with Pac multiple times before
Yeah.
that last time?
Yes.
Ah, okay, I didn't know that. So from the first night that you guys met at Nell's, how many more times did you guys hang out?
Oh my God. So we met Mills Sunday. I want to say 2 or 3 times before the actual incident. Yeah.
Okay, and when you would go hang out with him, what would happen?
Oh, I would go, we would have dinner. It would be, Charles Fuller would call us in a car. I would come there into the city, and we would just hang out and have a good time.
Okay, and you guys were having sex pretty much every time you met up?
No, we weren't.
You weren't?
No.
Okay, some of the times you met up?
Some of the times, maybe, no.
Okay.
Said that, they breathed new life in me. And Thug Life not only became a rap group, but it became a way of life for life for me. Because they disrespected me, my name, my family, what I had been through. They said that I couldn't be in pain. I could not feel, I could not be hurt. In my moment of pain, when I was shot 5 times in jail for a crime I didn't commit, while every other black person, whoever they was fucking babies in the ass or killing bitches and cutting them in 50 pieces, these niggas got support. I go to jail for a crime everybody know I did not commit, get shot 5 times, and I'm getting raped in jail, wompty. They just say anything to assassinate my character.
I want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, I want to shiver. I don't want them to be like, they know what I'm going to say because it's polite. They know what I'm going to say. And even if I get in trouble, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that what we're supposed to do? I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the ones, but let's not be selfish, and because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change it. I don't know how to change it, but I know if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody going to clean it up.